What's going on, IG? We're going to get started here in a little bit. Go ahead and share. Go ahead and share this live. It is 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. We'll get started here in 2 minutes. Got it. What's going on, IG?
David's iPhone connected. We're going to start in about 20 seconds, okay? 20 seconds. Go ahead and put a 2 in the chat. What's going on, IG? Appreciate you guys coming on here today, tonight. I know we have people from all around the world that are actually listening in to this IG Live. It's a very special day. I realized maybe a couple weeks ago that, 2/22/22, all right, this particular day will never be repeated again, right? Just like yesterday, just like last week, or just like tomorrow, it'll never be repeated again. But this specific date, ladies and gentlemen, it's really powerful. I mean, 2, and then 22, and then obviously 22. For this to ever happen again, you would need to be alive here, okay? Which can't happen because there's no 33 days in a month, right? So it is impossible for that to actually take place. So it's a very special day. And I want to talk about, today I want to talk about a topic that I've really taught many different times, but I'm going to teach it a little bit different today. You know, one of the greatest teachers of the mind and success just transitioned. I don't say he passed away because he was too much of an incredible person to say he passed away. This is someone who's ascended. This is someone who's transitioned into the ultimate prize of going to the Father, going to heaven and having that eternal life. And that's Bob Proctor. And he's someone that has impacted not just my life, but really, I would say tens of millions of people's lives all around the world. And so today I'm going to kind of share with you some things I've learned from him, some things I've learned from other incredible mentors as well. And then some things I've learned just from my own personal experience. We just came off an incredible event earlier this month here, the I Believe Experience, the Leader's Edge. And it was incredible. I mean, I've been hearing testimonies from that event. People had an amazing experience there. Their belief system went to a whole nother level. Their understanding of leadership has gone to a whole nother level as well. And even for myself, my understanding of leadership and my belief system went to a whole nother level. And I'm really excited about 2022. I believe that this is the year of double. This is the year that you see a lot of the manifestations of things that you've been believing for the last year or 3 years or 5 years. You're going to see that happen this year. But here's another thing. I believe that this year is going to be the birth. All right? I believe that this year there's going to be some decisions that you're going to make. There are going to be some opportunities that come into your life. There are going to be some people that are going to come into your life that will really decide the next 10 years of your life. I truly believe that that is going to happen this year. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to talk to you today. I want to talk to you about a part of who we are that really dictates our lives. You know, everything is possible for us when we get ourselves to the place of believing. That's something I learned a long time ago as a little kid, but it didn't really come into fruition for me until late on in life when I really looked at it again and really studied it for myself. And it wasn't, you know, my dad telling me I had to do it or my mom telling me I had to do it. It was something that happened for me when I truly understood that everything I wanted to accomplish, everything that I ever wanted for my life would actually happen for me if I could get myself to the place of believing. Now, how do you do that? This place of believing really happens in the mind. It really happens in the mind. Now, Bob Proctor, for many years, he taught on the stick person, okay? And I've never seen anyone teach it the way he's been able to teach it, so just bear with me on this, all right? And what he said was that there were really two parts. You had a conscious mind, and then you had a subconscious mind, okay? So the conscious mind was here, and then you had your subconscious mind was here. Now the subconscious mind, that's the God in you, right? That's the Superman that's on the inside of you. The subconscious mind gives you everything that you want. Now here's what I want you to pay attention, because getting to a place of believing is up to you. I want you to, if you're taking notes or if you're going to remember anything from this training that I'm going to give you today, is that believing is really up to you. There's some decisions that you can make that will cause you to get to a place of believing, which will allow your body, allow you to take the actions that are necessary in order for you to go where it is that you want to go. Okay? So here's the deal. The conscious mind has, watch this, has the ability to accept or reject information. The conscious mind, as soon as you're born, immediately starts acquiring the data, okay? So what happens is your conscious mind is really operating off of your five senses, all right? It's operating off of your five senses right away. So what it is that you see, what it is that you hear, what is it that you taste, or what is it that you touch, okay? And what is it that you smell, okay? Your conscious mind is getting all that information. Now here's the deal. You're getting information from the TV. You're getting information from people. But here's the deal, and I think a lot of people miss this, and this is very important. Immediately, ladies and gentlemen, who is going to dictate all of this? Your family is going to dictate this. All right? The family in which you're born into, all right, immediately starts this process of feeding the conscious mind. Now, here's the thing you have to understand about the subconscious mind, is that the subconscious mind does not have the ability to accept or reject information. it is only going to receive what you give it. It is only going to receive what it is that you give it. So all the data that's coming onto your conscious mind, you've got to now take inventory of it and make sure that you control what's entering into your conscious mind. How do you do this? You've got to make sure that your environment, all right, you got to set the environment from the very get-go, all right? Because now you're not a baby anymore, right? So you can't necessarily blame it on your family. The things that happened to you when you were a child, and maybe you've held on to that. You're 20 years old, or 30 years old, or 40, 50 years old, and you're still holding on to that. You're now in control. You can't blame it on anybody else, all right? Now, here's the deal. You've got to control the environment. You also have to now control who are the people that you allow into your life. Who are the people that you allow to speak into your life? All of this is giving data to your conscious mind, which will eventually seep into your subconscious mind. And once it gets into the subconscious mind, now it's going to come into manifestation. So you have to be in control of this. Also, here's the key thing, and I want you to put a star by this one. It is going to be the information, all right? The repeated information that you give over and over again, that you get over and over and over again. So that's why we tell people, read those books and listen to those audio tapes, come to the seminars every single time, because we know that you getting the repeated information is going to now feed into your conscious mind, which will now seep into that subconscious mind. And then here's the big one, again, is what you experience. Now, these four factors, ladies and gentlemen, they do impact your belief system. Now, your belief is created through three things. It's created through the words that you're speaking. It's created through the images that you're looking at. And then it's also created by the emotions that you have. Okay? And I want to make sure you guys can see what is it I'm writing. Okay, you guys can see it perfectly, all right? So I'm just kind of setting the stage on what I really want to talk to you about today. So you get the framework of what we're talking about. How do I make sure that my conscious mind is fed the right ingredients? All right? In order for me to go where it is that I want to go, I've got to make sure that my conscious mind is fed with the right ingredients. I've got to make sure that my conscious mind is surrounded by the right people. I've got to make sure that my conscious mind is fed the right information every single day. These are decisions that you've got to make every single day. These are decisions, this is the inventory that you've got to make every single day. You've got to take inventory every single day of who's in my life. Okay, who is in my life? Who's speaking in my life? Who's affecting the emotions? Because guys, your emotions, ladies and gentlemen, are dictated by the circumstances that you're in, the mood that you're in, but also the relationships. This is why relationships are so very, very important. And you've got to make sure you've got the right relationships with people. All right? And if it's the wrong relationship, you've got to be courageous enough. You got to love yourself enough to move away from those relationships. And sometimes you got to have that season of separation because your emotions are so critical to where it is that you actually want to go. Okay? So I want to kind of set the stage for you because I'm going to talk about the GPS. I'm going to talk about the mind. All right? The mind. Now, the GPS, ladies and gentlemen, this is the GPS for your life. It literally dictates everything that happens to you. Now, you have a GPS on your phone, you have a GPS in your car, and that GPS is powerful. It's got the navigational system, it's got all the information that you need. It's got the direction to where it is that you want to go, wherever you want to go, around the world, that information is already in there. That's how your mind works too. But it doesn't actually do anything for you until you give it a set of instructions. You've got to give it a set of instructions. So you've got to first feed the mind the words. What is the target? Okay. What is your target? Okay. What is your target for this year? All right, 2022. What are you completely focused on? All right. I'm going to give you another word. I want you to write this down. You've got goals. Okay. You've got desires, okay? You've got a vision, okay? You've got, obviously we got target up there, all right? Your goals, your desires, your vision, all right? What is your destination? Okay. What is your address? Okay. These are all different words. These goals, desires, or dreams, or visions, whatever it is that you have, destination, address, they're all just words. Okay? They're words. I'm starting a new regiment. Okay? I'm starting a new regiment, and I want you to start it with me. Every single day, all right, I want you to pick one person. Every single day, I want you to write down the same goal that you have for 2022. I want you to write it down 10 times. Okay? 10 times every single day. Every single morning when you wake up, let that be the first thing you do. Write it down 10 times, and then before you go to bed at night, I want you to read what you wrote down in the morning. Okay? Because see guys, you've got to now, right now, with everything that's going on the earth, everything that's going on in this world right now, you've got to really train your mind. This is very, very critical because there's so much data, there's so much information through social media and through the news and through just family and through life and life experiences. There's so much that's really happening right now. You're going to have to get ultimately focused on this. All right? And this is why I said there's some things that you can do that feed your conscious mind so it can eventually get into your subconscious. Because once it gets into subconscious, then it's already done. All right? That's when you have the feeling. That's when you have the vibration. That's when you're at that frequency of already knowing that it's already accomplished for you. Okay? So every single day, all right, I'm going to start March 1st. Okay? So you can start today if you want. All right? But I'm starting March 1st, all right, 2022, all right, 10 times every single day, I'm going to write it down. Just 10 times. Just 10 times. I'm going to write it down in the morning. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to have my goal book right there on my bedside. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to write it down 10 times, okay? Now, here's what I want you to do. This time around, I don't want you to tell anybody, okay? Don't tell anybody what you're writing down. Okay, don't tell anybody what you're writing down. If you are going to tell somebody, only tell one person. And make sure that one person has the ultimate belief. And if you're that one person, for that person, make sure you have ultimate belief and you have ultimate trust in that person. They believe that you're going to accomplish that goal. They believe in you. They see greatness in you. Make sure you choose just one. But do not make it public to everybody else. The goal that I've written down will not be public to anyone else. I will only tell one person this is what it is, and that person has to believe in me, and I have to believe in them what their goal is. So 10 times every single day, this is what you're doing. Now, you can write it down. All right, this is the way you want to write it down. Very simple. I am so happy and grateful now that I am ... whatever that goal is. Okay? 10 times a day, all right, you're going to set the intention because you've got to give the right address, the right destination to your conscious mind so it can eventually get into your subconscious mind. All right? And then guess what's going to happen? The subconscious mind, once it gets in there, it's now going to attract the right people. It's going to attract the right situations. The right people are going to come into your life. The wrong people are going to move out of your life. Now, when I say the wrong people, I don't mean that they're bad or they're wrong. Okay? They're just not for the dream or the vision or the destination that you've written down. All right? People say, well, David, how do you know this really works? Well, I've seen it work in my life. I've seen it work in the lives of millions of people all around the world. And every single person who's ever been successful in anything, this is what they have done. They've set the intention, and they did not move up that intention regardless of circumstances, regardless of the situations that they found themselves in. All right? Why are we doing this? Well, because what you're doing, ladies and gentlemen, is you're setting up the future. All right? You're setting up the future. The future is the time or the period of time following the moment of speaking or writing. All right? So what you're doing is when you write it down, and you're reading it out loud, ladies and gentlemen, you're setting the future. You're setting it in motion every time you do that. And you can intensify it by doing it 10 times a day. So I'm not going to tell you to do it 100 times because most people are not going to do that. 10 times a day, you make that commitment that whatever that goal is, if it's an income goal, if it's a goal in relationships, if it's a goal with your family, if it's a goal in your business, if it's a goal in your health, okay, whatever that is, I want you to write it down 10 times a day. All right, that's it. Just 10 times a day. And then before you go to bed at night, get that book out and just read it. Just read it 10 times and then put it back down, go to bed, and you're good to go. All right, March 1st is when I'm starting. You can join this challenge with me of what we're going to do. We just created a mastermind. So I've got a call with the mastermind group here in a little bit. So you got to make sure that you're very clear. That's why I'm going to give you the next 6 days to get really clear. If you're not already, get really clear on what is it that you want for 2022. What is it that you want for the next 3 years? What is it that you want for the next 10 years? I'm looking at the 50-year-old David right now. I'm not looking at the 30-year-old David. I'm looking at where's David going to be at 50? Who is that person? What is he doing? All right. What type of contribution has he made to the world at 50? And we've got to make decisions now. You've got to write things down now to make sure you set the right intention, set the right future for where it is that you're going. So the moment that I write it down, the moment following that I wrote it down or I spoke it, that is now the future. That's really powerful when you really understand that. So here's what you do. All right. The past, ladies and gentlemen, the past, there's absolutely nothing you can do about the past but change it. You can actually change the past. He said, well, David, what do you mean by that? How do you change the past? All right, well, I'll come back to that. So you have the past, and then you have the present. Okay? And then you have the future. All right? Now, here's what I want you to understand. The past is what happens last. The past is what happens last. You probably want to write that down. The past doesn't happen first. The past actually happens last. All right? The present is what's happening right now. Okay? The present is actually what's happening right now. The future is what has happened. Okay? H-E-B-E. How do you spell happen? Okay. Right. All right. The future has already happened. All right. So how do you know that? Well, this call, right? This call that you're on right now. You heard yesterday, right? You saw a post, a flyer that said I was going to be live at 2 p.m. on IG. That is when the future happened. It happened as soon as the flyer went out. Here's the deal. I never changed the future because at 2 p.m. I was live here. But I already said I was going to be live yesterday at 2 p.m. And that's why you're here at 2 p.m. Does that make sense? So the moment I said it, the moment I put the flyer out, the moment those words were actually put out to the universe, that is when this call already took place. All right? Now here's the deal. We're now presently doing the call. So right now, this is what we're currently doing. I'm on the call right now. But when we get off the call, guess what? It's in the past. It's the last thing that actually took place. That's what you have to understand about your words. See, your words, right? The words are the future first. This is what you're feeding the mind, ladies and gentlemen. The mind now says, okay, we're going to figure out a way how we're going to do this call. I'm going to set up here in my office because I had another call at 2 o'clock that I had to be. Actually, I had a meeting at 12:30. Then I had a call at 1 o'clock that I had to do. And then I had to be on here at 2, right? So my mind had to put all that together to make sure that the future actually took place. The future that I never changed because I never said, hey, I'm not doing the call at 2. I never wrote down that, hey, I'm not doing the call at 2. I said I was going to do the call at 2. That's when it actually took place. But now we're actually doing it, and here's what you do in the now. The only thing you do in the now, regardless of the situation, because right now, I know you're going through something right now. I know you're going through a challenge. Some of you may be going through a challenge right now in your relationship. Some of you may be going through right now in your finances, a challenge in your finances. Some of you may be going through something right now in your health. All right, some of you may be going through something right now in your mind. But here's what you've got to do with the now. The only thing you can do with the now is that you have to be, ladies and gentlemen, you must be happy, and most of all, you have to be grateful. The only thing you do with the now is be grateful. Because guys, I can tell you time and time and time again, that even in the present situation that looked, okay, it looked bad. It looked terrible. It looked like it wasn't going to work out. Those things that were happening that looked bad, they were all setting up the words that I had already spoken. Everything that's happening, good or bad, right now in the present, is a setup as long as you do not change what the future is. As long as you do not change what it is that you've written down 10 times a day, you're going to be committed with me to do this. I want you to get clear over the next 6 days on what is it that you want, what is it that you believe. And 10 times every single day. Do not share this with anybody but one person. 10 times a day, this is what I'm writing down. All right? This is what's going to happen. And before I go to bed, I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it. Those 10 times, I'm going to read it. I'm going to go to bed. All right? I see, guys, if you understand this, see, guys, most people think the past is what, oh, well, it already happened. No. It's what happens last. Right? Now, what you also can do with the past is you can learn from it. Okay? You can definitely learn from the past. You can learn some great things from your past. You can learn some things that you could have done better from your past. All right? But the key, regardless of what happens in the past, ladies and gentlemen, do not change what is it that you're speaking for the future. See, guys, here's the reality of it. Today, right now, today, at one point today will be yesterday. Right? And yesterday, right, at one point was today. Right? And tomorrow, at some point, tomorrow will be today. And at some point, tomorrow will be yesterday. Right? It's all together. It's all the same exact thing. It's the same, Bob talked about the hourglass. It's the same sand that's coming through. The sand doesn't change. The sand at the top and the sand at the bottom is the same. Now, you can determine, ladies and gentlemen, what type of sand you put in there, what type of seeds you put in there, what type of words that you put in there, what type of future that's creating the past. All right? Write this down. Your future creates the past. Write that down. Your future creates the past. So what is the future that you're creating? Because that future that you're creating, that's going to be your past. That's going to be your past. And the only thing you do in the present, ladies and gentlemen, is that you be grateful, because the present is constantly changing. Constantly changing. All right? So there's no point in being worried in the present. There's no point in being depressed in the present. All right? Because guess what? It can change. Things can change immediately based on right here, what you're doing here. All right? So set the intention of this is what's going to happen. All right? I've written it down. That is what's going to take place 10 times a day. I'm going to write the same thing, and I'm going to read it before I go to bed at night. That habit, ladies and gentlemen, let's create that habit together. All right? Now, I've done it where I've written it down 100 times. I've done it where I've written it down 200 times. But where it is that I'm going, the goals and the vision that I have now for my life, ladies and gentlemen, where it is going to be at 50, I've got to take it up a notch. That's the decision you've got to make as well. Hey, how can I take it up a notch? How can I take my belief system to a whole other level? Right? Yeah, every single time I've always shared this process with you, is that it's always going to start with the level of desire that you have. Right? It's always going to start with the level of desire that you have. And just like I spoke about in the very beginning, that your desire, right, the goal, to get it into your mind all the time, ladies and gentlemen, there's a reason why I'm telling you to write it down so you can see it. Remember, it says, write the vision, make it plain so who sees it will run. Right? Write the vision. I'm going to show you guys something. I've read it before, but if you see it, okay, it's really, really powerful. I'm going to read it again. It's really, really powerful. Interesting. Habakkuk 2, 2. All right, that 2 again. All right, and it says, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision. All right, so the answer, ladies and gentlemen, the answer that you're looking for right now, all right, it's already been given to you. He said, write the vision, make it plain upon tables. Now, a table is made out of wood. All right, a table is made out of wood. Now, wood comes from trees. Paper comes from trees. All right, so I don't want you to just write it in your phone. All right, that's good, but what I want you to do is I want you to write it down on paper. Get that gold journal. That's what I want you to call it. Call it a gold journal, and I want you to write it in there. Okay? Write upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Basically, he's saying that who sees it will run. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. The vision shall speak. So what you're writing down, at some point, it will be spoken. The vision has to be spoken. Not only does it have to be written down, it has to be what? It has to be spoken. All right? There's an appointed time for it to happen. All right? And it cannot lie. Though it may tarry, this is interesting, though it may take some time, it says wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. So what he's basically saying is that even though it may take some time, wait on it, it won't take time. I thought that was interesting when I read that. I was like, okay, what do you mean by that? What do you mean I should wait on it, right? Though it may take some time. Yeah, though it may take some time for it actually to show up in your life, all right? Because the goal that you've written down, will it show up tomorrow? Depending on how big the goal is. If it's a huge goal, it's going to take some time. But once the goal takes place, how much time does it take? It's already happened. All right? Wait on it. It cannot lie. Though it may tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will surely come. The future will always come. Remember that. The future will always come. But here's the deal. You cannot change it. You cannot change the address because of the present situation that you're in right now. All right? You can't change the address. You cannot change the destination. You cannot change the goal because of your current situation. This is where you got to stay mentally tough. This is where you got to continue to see it. This is where you got to continue to hear it. You got to go and touch the vision. You got to go and touch the vision. Touch what it is that you want. All right? You got to go and smell the vision. You got to go ahead and taste the vision. Taste where it is that you want to go. Get a sense of it. Go and experience it. Do it over and over and over again. And over through the period of time, though it may tarry, wait on it, it will surely come to pass. All right? Desire. Now, once you've got this down, and this is something you do, watch this, this is something you do 7 days a week. You're constantly working on your desire 7 days a week, ladies and gentlemen. Let me make sure you guys can see this. All right? 7 days a week, you're working on your desire. All right? You're seeing it every single day. You're hearing it every single day. You're feeling it every single day. Right? You go to those places where you can touch where it is that you actually want to have, so you can experience what it is that you want to have. You smell those different arenas, different places, different hotels, different homes, different cars. It smells a little bit different from what you're probably currently in right now. Okay? All those things. You know, one of the goals that I've set now is I want to get a Phantom, right? So guess what? I'm going to go sit in the Phantom. I'm going to go smell it. Maybe it smells a little different from the Rolls Royces that I have right now. I don't know. I'm going to go find out. I'm going to go experience it. I'm going to go sit in the back of one, maybe let it drive, because I'm not going to drive it. I'm going to let it drive. Maybe get an experience for it. Right? You got to do those things. So this is a 7-day-a-week job that you do. And then here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you how simple this is. Once you move from desire, now you've got to decide to master the skills. You got to decide that I'm going to master the skills. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's the deal, and this is going to be very simple, but very hard for some of you. In order to master something, you got to learn from a master. Okay? Masters learn from masters. Okay? Masters learn from masters. So whatever field that you're in, okay? We'll just turn the air up here. All right? Whatever field that you're in, there's somebody who's already mastered it. Okay? Whatever field that you're in, there's somebody that's already mastered that field. You now got to decide that I'm going to learn from them. Okay? I'm going to learn from that master. Whatever field it is. If it's in real estate that you're in, if you want to learn how to be a great father, if you want to learn how to be a great mother, you want to learn how to be a great brother, great sister, all right? Whatever it is that you want to learn, there's somebody out there that's already done it. There's somebody out there that's already built a great family. If you want to learn, right, to have a great body, guess what? You got to learn from someone who already has mastered that. Right? It's really, really simple, but a lot of people miss it. Or sometimes what you'll do is you'll learn from a master for a period of time, and then you get full. Or then you start to think, okay, well, I know more. Okay? Can't do that. You know, when you get a trainer, right, and maybe you're working out with that trainer, maybe 90 days goes by, 6 months goes by, a year goes by, right? Why do professionals, watch this, why do professionals still have trainers? Why did Michael Jordan go and hire Tim Grover? He was the best of the very best already, but he went and hired a trainer. Why? Because a trainer can push you a little bit more. A trainer can give you a little technique, a little strategy here and there that can make it just a little tweak that can make the whole difference. Tiger Woods, same thing. He changed the stroke. He went and got a master, someone who was a master at it. Now you say, well, Tiger's the greatest of all time. But guess what? He still had a coach. He still had a mentor. He still had someone that he could actually learn from. That is a never-ending process, ladies and gentlemen, that you decide that I'm going to continuously learn. I'm going to continuously grow. All right? This is why we partner up with great leaders. This is why we partner up with John C. Maxwell. Because I know, as a leader, guess what? I've got to grow as a leader. I've made many mistakes in leadership. I need to learn from someone who's a master in leadership. Does that make sense, guys? This is, see, the number one skill, ladies and gentlemen, that you're going to have to master is leadership. All right? And in leadership, ladies and gentlemen, the true essence of leadership is influence. Okay? The true essence of leadership is influence, ladies and gentlemen. But in order to influence people, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to learn how to communicate. You're going to have to learn how to communicate. Obviously, communicating with God, number one, right? Communicating with yourself, number two, and then having the ability to communicate with other people. Those are the 3 types of communication. Danny Betty did an amazing job teaching on this at the I Believe experience. Communication is going to be so critical. Communication between you and God, communication with yourself, and then your ability to influence others is because you've been influenced by God, and then now you that's the communication that you have. So now you influence yourself with the information coming from Him, but then now you have the ability to go and influence the world. All right? Leadership. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you want to become successful in, it's going to require leadership. You've got to have a great body. It's going to require leadership. Because within leadership is discipline. Within leadership is communicating with yourself the type of body that you want to have, the type of health that you want to have. Does that make sense? You want to have a great business. You want to have a great company. You want to have a great organization. You're going to have to learn how to communicate. Communicate with yourself. Especially in adverse times, in challenging times. Because the mind has the ability to shape things. The mind has the ability to resize things. But you're shaping those things, or you're resizing those things based on what you're feeding the mind, based on the words that you're feeding the mind. Some people look at a challenge, and they look at the challenge, oh my God, what am I going to do? Guess what? You're shaping your mind to think that way. But I can look at that same situation and say, man, this is exciting. This is an opportunity for growth. This is an opportunity for change. This is an opportunity for us to go to a whole nother level. This is an opportunity for us to tweak something that maybe we weren't doing right that would allow us to go to the next level. And guess what? If that never happened, if that challenge never showed up, we wouldn't have made that decision. If that challenge never showed up, we wouldn't have made the tweaks. and change different strategies and techniques. And this is where that coach and that mentor comes into play, where you sit down with them and you say, okay, this is what's going on. What do I need to do? You're not questioning it, because guess what? I can promise you this, that master has probably gone through whatever it is that you're going through right now. I'm gonna have an opportunity to spend some time with John, and I can tell you this, I'm gonna be asking him a lot of questions, because I know he's had to lead large organizations. I know he's had to lead, a tremendous amount of men, tremendous amount of women to become great. So I'm always gonna want to learn. Right? No matter how much money I've actually earned, I'm going to say, okay, no, I've got to learn. I've got to become better as a leader. Okay? So, that's the decision, guys. And then, this right here, that is going to be critical. The faith. Desire plus skills times faith. All right? Desire plus skills times faith. And ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you this. One of the things that I love about information is that it's always there, it's always available. You just have to choose to go for it. All right? You just have to choose to go for it. When I was coming up, 2004, all right, because I can't see the comments or anything, so I just want to make sure everybody's good here. When I was coming up, ladies and gentlemen, and in 2004, I was given certain books and tapes to listen to and say, hey, you got to read this book, you got to listen to this tape. And I did that. One of the tapes was Jim Rohn, Building Your Network Marketing Business. One of the books was Think and Grow Rich. And in that book, that's why I actually learned for the very first time that desire is the starting point of all achievement. That's why I actually learned that. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. But I also learned something called the self-confidence formula. And the self-confidence formula is a way for you to build up your faith. And we've already talked about the self-confidence formula, and we're intensifying it by writing it down 10 times every single day. Okay, I'm excited about this. I'm so fired up about it, because I know, David, in order for you to go where it is that you want to go, you've got to take your belief to a whole other level. Look how far you've come with just doing this level of believing. Guess what? What if you took your level of believing to a whole other level? Guess what? You would go to a whole other level, because everything that's possible is based on my ability to believe for it. So when you look at the self-confidence formula, it's really powerful. The first one says, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. I know that I have the ability, ladies and gentlemen. I know that I have the ability because of the person that has the ability that's on the inside of me. I know that I have the ability. So what I'm doing is, I'm setting the right intention in the very beginning of this journey and saying, I know I have what it takes to go and do that. Because a lot of times you don't take a step forward because you are looking at your limitations. But I want you to take the limitations off today and put on the faith, put on the mind of Christ, put on the mind of, you know what? I know that I have the ability because of who's on the inside of me. I know that I have the ability, and I'm going to take action. I'm going to take continuous action. I'm going to be persistent on this. I'm going to be on time. I'm going to be there for every meeting. I'm going to be there for every call. I'm going to show up. I'm going to be my best self every single time. I'm going to take continuous action. All right? And I promise myself to render such action. I'm not going to let up, regardless of what the situation is, because I know that I have the ability. I know what's happening right now. I know it's setting me up for where it is that I want to go. All right? And then I say, listen, I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind. See, it goes back to what we've already talked about. What are the dominating thoughts? Think about it. There's nothing else that you're going to be writing 10 times a day, and there's nothing else you're going to be reading 10 times a day other than the goal, the destination, the address that you set for yourself for 2022. There's nothing else that is going to be the most dominating thought of your mind. And guess what it says? I realize that the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action. So once it becomes a dominant thought of my mind, I'm now going to take physical action in order for it to get there. And then gradually it's going to transform itself into physical reality. Gradually. Remember it says, though it may tarry, wait on it, it will not tarry. That's gradual. Gradually it will transform itself into physical reality. But I've got to make it the dominant thought of my mind. How do I do that? I'm going to write it 10 times a day. I'm going to read it 10 times a day. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make that the dominant thought of my mind, and then I'm going to go take physical action to develop the skill, become a master of what it is that I'm doing, surround myself with good people, surround myself with the very best of the best, right? Because I don't know how to do everything. And that's a gift that you can have for yourself as well. That you don't have to be the one to do everything. You just surround yourself with people that know how to do what you can't do. You know what you know how to do. Right? But guess what? Surround yourself with other people that can do what you can't do, and we do it together, and boom, guess what? We have an amazing opportunity. All right? Gradually transform itself into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily. See that right there? See guys, I always do this. I always begin with the end in mind. When I say write it down 10 times a day, I don't know, it may not take you 30 minutes to do that. Right? It may not take you 30 minutes to read it, but that's what it says. I will concentrate my thoughts 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become. See, I'm thinking about the person I intend to become. Who's that person, David? What does that person look like at 50? Right? Even looking beyond 40, looking at, okay, where are you going to be at 50? Right? Setting the intention, setting the future there. Right? And way before I get to 50, I'll be thinking about 60. Way before I get to 60, I'll be thinking about 70. Way before I get to 70, I'll be thinking about 80. Right? Thinking about that person daily, upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of who that person is. Do you have a clear mental picture of who you're going to be 3 years from now? Clear mental picture of who you're going to be 5 years from now? Because here's what I'll tell you. Having a clear mental picture of who you're going to be decides the decisions that you make. Decisions must be decided upon. All right? Decisions must be decided upon. I decided this is what I'm going to do. I made a decision, but I decided this is what I'm going to do. What I do is the decision. But I've got to make a decision, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to decide that I'm going to do it. I know through the principle of auto-suggestion. So auto-suggestion is what I say to myself. That's why I'm telling you to read it to yourself 10 times a day. Right? I realize, I know through the principle of auto-suggestion, any desires, anything that you wrote down on that piece of paper that we write down together 10 times a day, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind, and I persistently hold in my mind because I'm doing it every single day, will eventually seek expression. It's going to go and find the right people, the right situations, the right opportunities, the right people are going to come into my life, the wrong people are going to leave my life. Right? I'm going to experience failure over here because the failure over here is going to set me up for the success, a bigger success than I've had over here. Guys, I've seen this happen so many times. I've seen it happen in my life so many times. I've seen failure after failure after failure after failure lead me to success. John said it best. He said, you got to look at failure and success in the same coin. Right? Put them together. He said the failure keep you humble, right? Right? And the success, I mean, that's the exciting time, right? But most people, they're not excited during the failure because they think failure means it's bad. No, failure is setting you up for success. Failure is setting you up for success. I know through the principle of auto-suggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will seek expression through some practical means of me attaining it. So the right business opportunity is going to come along. The right person is going to come along for my business. The right person is going to come along for the relationships that I want. Everything that's going to happen based on my auto-suggestion, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm saying to myself. Okay? Therefore, I would devote 10 minutes daily. See, there goes that 10 minutes right there. 10 minutes daily of demanding myself to develop my self-confidence. Self-confidence, write this down. Self-confidence is developed through auto-suggestion. So by me writing it down 10 times a day and speaking it 10 times a day, I'm automatically building up self-confidence. I've clearly written it down. We already talked about that, right? I've clearly written it down, right? Of what my definite chief aim in life will be. And I'll never stop trying until I develop sufficient self-confidence. So I'm not going to stop reading it. I'm not going to stop writing it down until I've developed sufficient self-confidence for it to take place. I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I'm engaged in no transaction that does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use in the cooperation of other people. That's leadership, ladies and gentlemen. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness. Let me pause at jealousy here for a second, ladies and gentlemen. Jealousy is different from envy. All right? Envy is not necessarily a negative thing. All right? It's not. There are going to be people that envy you. There are going to be people that envy the life that you have. They're going to envy the family that you have. They're going to, and guess what, guys? That's okay. But don't allow that to move you into jealousy where you think they want what it is that you have. Now, should they envy you? No, they should admire you. They should say, okay, you know what? If it can happen for her, it can happen for me too. If it can happen for him, it can happen for me too. But guess what? The world is always going to envy you. They're always going to do that. It's always going to happen. But you can't move into jealousy because of that. So you got to want, what you want for yourself, you got to want that for the world as well. All right? Selfishness, you got to eliminate that. Cynicism, develop love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude towards others can never bring me success. All right? These are simple things that I teach on that I know work, right? It worked in my life for many, many years. It worked in the lives of millions of people. It's no different, right? It's no different for us. It's not going to be any different for you. But you've got to decide. You've got to make that decision that I'm going to build up my self-confidence. All right? Faith, ladies and gentlemen. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to leave you with this. Faith works. Okay? Faith works. Okay? Faith works through love. Faith works through love. Your faith is not going to reach where it is that you want to go if you're not operating in love. Okay? And to operate in love, you got to give and you got to forgive. Give is in there. Okay? You got to give and you got to forgive. All right? So wherever that is, whatever situation it is, you got to forgive. You got to let it go. All right, whatever it is that did to you 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, you got to let it go. Okay? Whatever they did to you yesterday, whatever they did to you last week, you got to let it go. You got to operate in love. Meaning, I have no anger or resentment towards that person or towards that situation. Can it still hurt? Yes, it can still hurt. And it's going to take time for that hurt to go away. But you don't wish ill on that person. You want that person to succeed. You want that person to move on in their lives and be great. All right? And that's for you. Giving is for you and forgiving is for you as well. That's for you, ladies and gentlemen. All right? That's what's going to allow your faith to go to a whole nother level. So I appreciate you guys. I've got a mastermind call that I'm about to get on right now. You guys can actually find out how you can be a part of the mastermind. It's an amazing group of individuals. We communicate pretty much every single day. If you click the link in the bio, you can see how you can be a part of that. I'm pumped up for 2022. This is an amazing day. 222, right? I don't know how many twos is in there. There's a lot of twos. But write your goal down, all right? Get clear on what it is, and then let's start March 1st. Let's start writing it down 10 times. Read it 10 times before you go to bed. Write it down in the morning. Again, 10 times. Read it 10 times before you go to bed. And let's see what happens. Let's prove that believing works. I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you guys soon.